Hello and welcome. Today we need to discuss an escalation in geopolitical tension that has gone from mere backstage rumors to an open diplomatic crisis between the United States and Europe. If you thought the idea of buying an inhabited territory was a thing of the past, the White House has just updated that definition. We are facing a scenario that places the world's greatest military power on a direct collision course with its historic allies. Donald Trump wants Greenland, and the American administration has been clear. The preference is diplomacy, but the use of military force has not been ruled out. Let's analyze now, in detail, what was said, the furious reactions from Europe, and what this means for the future of NATO. The central point of our coverage today is the official confirmation coming from Washington. This Wednesday, the 7th, the White House explicitly informed that President Donald Trump is considering making a formal offer to buy Greenland. We are talking about the world's largest island, an autonomous territory belonging to the Kingdom of Denmark. But what turned this news into an alarming global headline wasn't the offer to purchase itself, but the veiled threat that accompanied it. Carolyn Leavitt, the White House press secretary, stated that the president is actively discussing this possibility with his team. According to Leavitt, Trump prefers a diplomatic solution. However, and here is the point that set off alarms in Copenhagen and Brussels, she reaffirmed that the United States could use military force to secure its interests. The American justification is purely strategic. According to the spokesperson, the goal is to contain the growing influence of Russia and China in the Arctic. The region is seen as the new frontier for natural resources and trade routes, and the American government assesses that controlling Greenland, which is roughly the size of Alaska, is vital for the national security of the United States. Now you must be asking, how did Europe react to this? The answer is simple: with disbelief and immediate indignation. The island's population and the local government were categorical. Greenland is not for sale. The premier of Greenland, Jens Frederik Nielsen, reinforced that only the island's 57,000 inhabitants have the right to decide their future. The phrase echoing in diplomatic corridors today is from Minister Vivian Motzfeldt, who told local public TV, "Nothing about Greenland without Greenland." They demand to participate in any negotiating table. And the tension has escalated so much that Denmark requested an emergency meeting. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio confirmed he will meet next week with representatives of the country to try to calm the waters. But the problem runs deeper. The climate of fear is real, because we aren't talking about empty threats. The news itself highlights a recent context that cannot be ignored: the military operation in Venezuela. The U.S. Speaker of the House, Republican Mike Johnson, tried to downplay the situation. He said he had no knowledge of plans to send troops to Greenland and that the focus would be diplomatic. But Johnson himself admitted something extremely worrying. He stated that he was also not informed in advance about the United States' attack on Venezuela, which resulted in the capture of Nicolas Maduro. In other words, the fact that the U.S. Congress doesn't know about an operation doesn't mean it won't happen. And since the operation in Venezuela, Trump has made threats of intervention in various locations, citing Cuba, Iran, Mexico, Colombia, and, of course, Greenland. This creates a pattern of unpredictable behavior. This brings us to the most critical point of this story: NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Denmark is a founding member. It is a historic ally that sent troops to fight alongside Americans in Iraq in 2003, and now it finds itself threatened by its greatest partner. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen issued a very grave warning last Monday. She stated that a military attack by one NATO country against another would jeopardize the entire alliance in the security system created after World War II. Think with me. Article 5 of NATO says that an attack on one member is an attack on all. But what happens when the alleged aggressor is the leader of the alliance? It's a paradox that could disintegrate the organization. Trump, for his part, doesn't seem concerned with the group's cohesion.
He has openly criticized the alliance, stating that the alliance benefits smaller countries at the expense of American security. On the social media network Truth Social, he posted an enigmatic and harsh sentence: "We will always stand by NATO, though they don't stand by us." This signals an unprecedented breach of trust. And it is not just Europe that is worried. Within the United States itself, opposition to this idea of forced annexation or hostile purchase is growing, even within Trump's own party. Republican Senator Tom Tillis and Democrat Gene Shanahan, important figures on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, issued a rare joint statement. They criticized the president's remarks. The note clearly states, "When Denmark and Greenland make it clear that the island is not for sale, the United States must fulfill its obligations and respect sovereignty." They ask that the focus return to true threats and that the U.S. work with its allies, not against them. To conclude our analysis today, the scenario is one of absolute uncertainty. We have a U.S. base already installed in the region, Chinese and Russian interests circling the Arctic, and a U.S. president willing to rewrite the rules of global diplomacy, placing the military option on the table against a loyal ally. Europe is preparing contingency plans for a possible invasion, something that would have sounded like fiction a few years ago, but which is today being seriously discussed in official offices. I want to know your opinion. Do you think this move on Greenland is just an aggressive negotiating tactic to ensure control of the Arctic, or are we about to see the end of NATO as we know it? Leave your comment down below. It is very important to debate this topic. If you enjoyed this complete analysis, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to follow the developments of this global crisis. I will be back at any moment with more updates. Until then,